What's up, everyone? I'm going to talk a little bit about how to utilize the 80/20 principle, whether that's in your training, nutrition, whatever it is, and how to operate on principles instead of rules or restrictions. And this is a little mindset tweak, but it really goes a long way. So I'm going to go over a couple of the biggest blocks that I see my clients go through, ones that I've gone through as well, and how you get past them. So we'll talk about nutrition first. And this is a big one for people because if you are getting into this journey or you've been on it for a little while, or you've been doing the up and down, the yo-yo dieting, you lose the weight and you gain it back, what's going on there? So you're probably stuck in this all or nothing mindset. And that is going to really come back to bite you as the days go on. Quick story, I used to have this client, and he was a person that on the weekends he would just go off the rails, and kind of like Monday through Thursday he would really try to just use his willpower and white knuckle his way through everything during that day. And when you're constantly thinking about, oh, I can't do this, or I can't have this thing that I want, or whatever it is, that is typically a recipe for disaster, because all it really takes is something in your external world to go off, to shift you to an emotional state that is negative, and then you're going to typically use something to get it back. And for most people in this situation, it's food. So he would come in for a week, do everything that he was supposed to do, and then the next week he would go MIA. And then, or he would go on a trip or something, and he would come back and he would be like, you know what, I think we need to do more during our sessions. And it was only a 50-minute, 60-minute session, right? So he would be doing absolutely nothing when he wasn't with me, and then he would come back to the gym and be like, you know what, we need to do this, we need to do that and the other thing. And in my head I'm thinking like, well, if you know the answers, then why haven't you done it? You know what I mean? If you didn't take a break the other 23 hours of the day, then when you come in to see me, you're not going to object to the plan that I have set up for you, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, why you're trying to tell me how to train you, when in reality, the issue is that when you're not in the gym, you completely forget everything that we've done. And he was operating on this all or nothing mindset. So for him, if he was supposed to have something to do on like a Tuesday, let's say, and then he doesn't do it, he comes into me on a Wednesday like, oh, now I need to lift for 2 hours, now I need to do all this stuff, right? And he would do that, and then of course it's not sustainable, so he doesn't continue to do it, and then he starts missing again. So what's going on there? And this is a good point, because everything comes back to this. It's like, what do you do if you miss the day? You do the same thing you were going to do the next day. There is no, crazy, oh, I'm going to do double the amount tomorrow. That just does not work. I have not seen that work for people. And, he's coming in thinking, oh, I need to do this and that and the other thing. And I'm like, if you would just walk on your off days, if you would just try to get 8 to 10,000 steps or more if you can, we wouldn't have this problem. That's something that's super easy to do. If you ate regularly, if you had 2.5 to 3 meals during the day, and didn't just go out on these all-out binges, then we wouldn't have this problem. So if you do the right thing 80% of the time, and that 20% you give yourself a little wiggle room. So that's typically how I operate. I already know what I'm going to eat pretty much every day. I know what I like. I know how much protein I need. I know how much calories I need to operate at my level of output. So that's going to be different depending who you are. But if you start to realize that when you have these staples set in place, that will give you the freedom that you're looking for. So the freedom is not, I get to do whatever I want all the time with no repercussions, because that's just not realistic. But so for example, if I woke up and for breakfast I had a cup of egg whites, plain oatmeal, and then for lunch I had chicken and rice plain. Hate it. And then for dinner I have, ground beef and rice, right? All this is very boring. Things that I do eat, by the way, but you can make them easier for you to stick to. So I know that that would not be maintainable for me. I'm not getting paid to go on stage or anything like that. So I do not subject myself to that. So if this is the route that you are taking and you're like, oh, this is how Mr. Olympia eats, this is how I'm going to eat, it's not going to work for you. So instead, I'll have eggs on toast with some cheese and some hot sauce, right? I could eat that every single day. Then I'll have like some Greek yogurt, berries, granola, honey, those type of things. And then for dinner, I'll, whatever I'm feeling that day. But I typically follow the same type of sequence. And some days I don't, some days I do. But then on the weekend, I'll typically have the same thing. Not the same foods, but the same setup, like 2 big meals, 1 snack or whatever it is. And as long as you're not going over like crazy, you're not like binging all day, you're not going to have issues. So if you keep your off days like your main days, but you just give yourself a little more freedom, that 20% that you can utilize, it's so much easier to stick to, as well as having the things that you do on your regular days not be things that are tough. Because for me, eating the calories that I should be eating is not difficult because I enjoy the foods that I'm eating. I enjoy the workouts that I do. I enjoy being in nature, going for walks. So getting my steps in is just routine. 2.5 to 3 meals of real food till satiation is routine. Doing at least one type of bodyweight strength workout a day is just routine. It takes 20 to 30 minutes. It's not a lot of time at all. And it just makes the game so much easier once you focus on the things that actually move the needle instead of what supplements do I need to take? What's this new superfood? What about this new pharmaceutical drug that could make my life better? And on and on and on. If you don't focus on that and you focus in how many steps am I getting? How much protein am I consuming? Am I eating till I am satiated, not bloated and stuffed? And are the foods that I'm eating actually fueling me and making me feel better? So how do I feel on a day-to-day basis with my mood, with my energy, etc.? Those are the things that are going to move the needle for you. So when someone has a ton of weight to lose and they come to me and asking me about supplements and white rice versus brown rice and all this stuff that makes absolutely no difference in your results, I'm just gonna look at them kind of sideways and be like, why are we even talking about this? Have you mastered the discipline of walking, getting your steps in? Can you consistently go to the gym? If you don't go to the gym, do it at home. You have no excuse to not do it at home. You have a floor. You can go outside. There's no excuse. And are you eating a ton of crappy food every single day? Or are you eating real foods till you're satiated? Those are the 3 things. If you're not doing those, do not worry about supplements. Do not worry about anything else. And this is what I constantly see in the community. People are just focusing on things that don't matter. People are reading scientific studies about things that are irrelevant to them. It's like, you only get 3,000 steps a day. Why are you reading articles? If you want to read them while you walk, I can get on board with that. But if you're not doing the one thing that anybody can do, then what are you doing? What are we talking about? If you are eating crappy foods and going over your calories, getting no nutrition and feel like crap every day, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Just eat real food till satiation, get your steps in, monitor how much protein you are and your energy levels. That's literally it. Everything else falls into the other 80% that you do not need to worry about. And everyone wants to make it complicated because everyone wants to sell you something. And that's just how this world works. But to actually be successful, you need to be able to discern all the BS that does not matter. So I have people come to me all the time and what supplements, and blah, blah, blah. And the first thing I ask them is, can you even notice a difference when you take it? And I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe. I'm like, then stop. What's the point? Walk and get some sun. Do the things that you know work and get out of your head. Stop overthinking it. Don't think, oh, I messed up yesterday, so now I need to do 3 times as much. And then it's like, all right, then what? Then another day goes by, you're going to feel like crap and you're going to feel like a failure because you can't maintain that. And the cycle begins. So hit the big 3, do them every day, and then you'll realize how much more freedom that you have. If you are eating everything you want and you don't walk at all, you don't get any movement in, you're not doing any strength training, that person is going to be sedentary, look bad, feel bad, not perform well. That same person could eat the same thing, just move, do the strength training, get some sun, and they could be ripped. Eating the same thing, completely different outcomes. So stop shooting yourself in the foot and making it hard on yourself, and focus on the needle movers. That is all you need to focus on. So that will kind of get rid of that all or nothing mindset. It's not what you do one day of the week, it's what you do consistently every single day. Your discipline is your routine. If you have no routine because you're constantly, oh, I need to go for 2 hours, oh, now I feel like crap, now I'm not going to go today, and work was tough, so I'm not going to do anything, and blah, 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 constantly up and down, you have no discipline because there's no routine. Your routine needs to be something that you go back to when life gets hectic. When things are all over the place, you know what you can do and what works for yourself. That is discipline. And the discipline stems from having the routine. If you just fly by the seat of your pants and you don't really do much, you have no discipline, you have no routine. So create a routine, and the secret is to actually enjoy what you're doing. If you're 300 pounds or whatever and you're trying to lose weight and someone tells you to go sprint or something and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. Don't. Just start walking, get outside, throw some headphones in, listen to something, learn, listen to music. I don't care. Whatever gets you out there. And it's just the constant complaining from people that don't do the most basic of things. It's just frustrating. It's like, if you have not done those 3 things, there's no point of complaining. It's a complete waste of time. So hopefully that kind of plugs it all together. And yeah, I just tell my clients, if you have a terrible day, just get back on the horse tomorrow. Don't think about it for another second. It doesn't matter. It's not going to do you any good to think about. So get back to walking, eating regular food till you're satiated, and get some strength training in. That's really all it takes.